Hello, hello. So we're going again. This is the next video in the series. It's actually immediately after the last video. Kind of sorry about my potty attitude in the last video. Even just watching this stuff kind of frustrates me a bit. But you'll see that when we go here, that same guy who I was complaining about at the end of the last video is actually in a red bar situation here. So the reason why I put it in cheating is because it seems to me that anytime that you see someone go from green to red between matches, they're managing their network, and if they're not, that's fine. You know, Bungie can investigate and do whatever they wish to do, but I'm not going to give anyone the benefit of the doubt with the way that Crucible is right now. The way that Crucible is functioning right now.
Zone A's captured. It's yours. Enemy captured Zone C. Gains the lead.
So here you see somebody. Now you have to wonder what is the thought process with someone who single-handedly approaches a group of 6. Like it's one thing to go it's one thing to go 1 versus 2, even 1 versus 3. If you're experienced and you know what you're doing, always come and get these snipers here. You know, spend your time. They typically are real. If it's just a solitary sniper in that area, they're really easy to get because they're going to be ADSing the entire time. That is aiming down scope. They're going to be ADSing the entire time. They're not going to even know that you're approaching them, especially this close. Now that guy is using a Mida. And I'm not sure that I even received a hit that last time, but ended up dying. What ended up happening was that in 2 shots, Mida makes 55 damage in the Crucible, by the way, not Aaron Banner, does 55 damage to your head and a headshot, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have a headshot on both of those, and it brought me down to about 10% health. So that's a problem, that I perceived 2 shots from Mida and am being brought down to 2% health. If I hadn't, or 10% health, if I hadn't already been undercover, there would have been no way for me to recover from that. I would not have been able to get away from somebody who was using Mida that way. So the best I can figure is the person was actually shooting me while I was undercover, and I neither saw them nor saw their movements. So I was actually receiving damage before I even saw them. And essentially whatever host I'm connected to is whatever console is acting as a server for the 12 of us was not updating that person fast enough so that I could actually see them. And of course so if you don't know this already, Destiny has a matchmaking server. And what that server does is basically it sets you up with an instance that you can then so whenever somebody goes around, I'll explain that later, but I have to address this. Whenever somebody goes by himself with you approaching the heavy ammo, and this person has, by the way, this person has, what do you call it, trials gear on, right? That person is not a noob, all right? If they've got trials gear on, then they know they should be waiting for teammates to come get heavy ammo. You don't just go and grab heavy ammo, especially when one of your teammates is around. There was nobody on our radar at all, and that was just basically a real asshole move to go and take all the heavy ammo, and it can destroy your team's chances. 6 versus 6, that will literally keep you from winning.
Double kill.
So just so you know, there was essentially no animation. The guy was facing away from me, but I was hit by a hammer of soul. So just weird. Anyway, back to the server thing. So Destiny has a matchmaking server. The matchmaking server sets you up with an instance. That's your own little environment in which you can play the game between 12 consoles. And the way that works is, once the matchmaking server is done, as far as I know, now this is from, you know, a Reddit post that shows, you know, Destiny's proposed, Destiny's proposed networking process. But that matchmaking server then becomes a physics server for this instance. So when we're playing a game with 12 people, the matchmaking server now is the physics server and is basically keeping track of everybody's movements and shots and trajectories and all the rest of that stuff. And when it doesn't have information, it makes it up based on what you were doing the last time it did have information. That's why you see people like running into walls and stuff when they're essentially disconnected from your game. It's because Destiny is making up whatever they think that person is supposed to be doing, and meanwhile that person can actually be doing you damage. And when that person finally sinks back to the game, you end up going down to 0 health because you didn't even know he was there. That's how these people are able to disconnect from the game, and then you end up dying from being hit by them. You could hit them 20 times. They'll literally be disconnected for 2 or 3 or 10 seconds, and then you end up dying for no apparent reason to that same person who was disconnected. So Destiny is giving a definite advantage to them. Now, when you look at the damage referee, what that's supposed to do is reduce that very thing. Keep the physics server from allowing a disconnected player from doing you damage. So here, I think that other players in my group are unable to see these people. So unfortunately, they were able to get heavy ammo, I believe, immediately after it was announced. I unfortunately, like I said, this is not the greatest video editing software. It's just something that's, it's an app on the PS4. But if I recall correctly, that it was just announced, so it was literally impossible for those people to grab heavy in that time period, because it takes about a second for you to actually activate the heavy ammo. But they were able to get heavy ammo the instant it was available. And this is another problem with people who are lagging. So beyond damage referees and all the rest of that stuff, people who are lagging are able. Now you'll see this guy doesn't actually appear very well or very accurately on my radar. There we go. If you do it frame by frame, you'll see he doesn't really do that well, and he's jerking here as well. So he's obviously doing something bad, because he's showing up as green and still able to whatever jerk around, have jerky animation moments. That's not connecting to the server properly. Anyway, that's a short one. I'll talk to you guys later.